Hey STRU friends, this is your personal invitation to co-invest alongside me. If you haven't heard, I've launched Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities Fund, where I will be personally investing all of my short-term rentals going forward. And if you're an accredited investor and you want instant diversification and you want to participate in the best ideas that I identify, you relate to all of my teachings and the uniqueness and the sense of place and all of that stuff, then please click on the description below and find out more about Stomp Capital short-term rental opportunities. The best is yet to come and we're literally getting started. I would love to have you alongside, so let's go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back. STRU podcast with the one and only Richard Fertig.
And the lovely and delightful Erica Boss.
Welcome to the STRU podcast, your #1 online hosting community, helping you achieve your goals through short-term rental investing. Now, here's your host, Richard Fertig.
I love the sound effects, the drum rolls, and who needs music when we got you?
Right, that's what I'm here for. The sound effects.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And
How
a
are
lot
you?
more than that. Fantastic.
Are you?
I'm very, very excited, very, very busy, having a lot of fun.
What are you so excited about?
Well, my time with you. My time with all of you. My time with Logan. We're launching Stomp Capital in 72 hours or something like that, which is literally the culmination of all of my life work, right? When you stop and think about it. I was a trader, went to business school, got recruited at the Blackstone Group.
Yeah.
$1.1 billion under management there, got hired away. Competitive firm Ramius Capital Group grew that from 100 million to $4+ billion over 8 years. Then started being an entrepreneur and real estate investor in short-term rentals and started the YouTube channel. And now we're coming full circle back to fund manager, asset allocator, professional investor, but it's 100% owned by me and not by somebody else, and they can't fire me and they can't let me go when the market turns or anything like that. So it really just feels like we're at the very start, right, of
Hey, congratulations.
everything. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For what?
Well, just for the fund.
Oh.
I mean, and for the launch. Yeah, congratulations on the launch
Yeah,
of your own fund.
That's
well, amazing.
Not of my own fund as much as my own firm, right? Like
Firm.
we're launching Stomp Capital, and
Right.
As I look forward, based on the opportunities that I see, I think we're incredibly fortunate that I've got the foresight and the vision as to what we're looking for, what works, great team on the ground and brokers and people scouting and analysts and just, I'm very, very excited. I think
So good.
we will raise more money
Yes.
because of the opportunity set when people wake up to the fact that short-term rentals are generating multiples over, say, long-term rentals, and they've got many more tax advantages and benefits and so on. There's not a lot of competition in this space yet, so there's 1,000,001 multifamily long-term rental funds and places to invest. As far as I know, I think we're the first short-term rental filing with the SEC, and it's for accredited investors only. And so once again, we're early, we're first, where you see the blue ocean strategy, we're going for it, and we're not copying anybody, we're forging our own path. So I'm very, very excited and grateful, and thank you for acknowledging that.
Yeah.
But I'm also very excited for what we're about to do, starting tomorrow or the next day?
Starting tomorrow.
Well, clue them in.
Tomorrow.
Come on. Bring them up to speed.
So we are getting the car and driving to NYC.
Money making, Manhattan. Money making, Manhattan.
And I'm really excited because you're really excited. It's been a while since you've been excited to go to the city. But I think it's all good, all positive, all it's we've got a couple of we basically got a week full of dinners with the girls, and they got to pick where they wanted to go, and celebrating birthdays and celebrating starts of school years.
Right, taking
and
them to school, meeting with great friends and some investors, and talking
Yeah.
about Stomp Capital and Jackson Hole, and
Yeah.
then going to Cape Cod while we're up there. And so, like, it's just
All-
end of
yeah.
summer extravaganza, heading
Yeah.
into Labor Day with like an explosion. It's
Yeah.
going to be fantastic. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, and I just feel like there's an element of like light and optimism going into, I think, for the girls at least, going into the school year as opposed to last year.
Yeah, although this Delta variant thing is a total bummer and reimmersion, and
It's a thing,
my
for
eldest
sure.
daughter's college, all of her sorority pretty
Yep.
much has COVID, and they're all quarantining, and they're missing the first 10 days of classes, and so it's still a thing, and I don't want to minimize it, and it's still a very dangerous and scary thing for those of you that are not vaccinated, and I don't really want to get into the whole political thing. All I just
not.
want to say is if I can influence even one person, and we literally influenced a very important person
Yes.
recently that means a
Yes.
lot to us,
Yes.
to go get vaccinated. So if there's anybody who's on the fence, please,
So
by
grateful.
the time you wish you could get it, it's generally too late. So
Yeah.
you have to think forward here. I also do want to say, because this is a investing podcast, one of the things that we're doing in New York City also is just staying abreast of the investment opportunities, because New York City, like many urban areas, is actually down. So the rest of the world is up in housing prices and real estate appreciation. It looks like New York City, to me, has now formed a bottom. So the bottom is likely in. It's turned a corner. We're starting to see some green shoots of stability and maybe even some recovery, but still way down from, when I sold before the pandemic. When I exited my brownstone in March of 2019, we're still down significantly. And by the way, March of 2019 was already down versus March of 2018, 2017, right? So New York City prices had been soft. And so we're just exploring. We've received an unsolicited bid on a property that's not core to our future. Significant gain in very short order. We're talking 7 figures in less than 12 months. And one of the principles as a professional trader that you learn really early on is you can never go broke taking a profit. So opportunistically, we're entertaining it, but before we commit and before we sign papers and whatever, I'm thinking forward about redeployment, and 1031 tax laws might be changing in the future, so this might be the last bite at the apple, and so we're looking for 1031 possibilities. And as little as I want to invest in Manhattan, right? It's literally,
I couldn't believe it
I know.
when you suggested it. I was just
it's literally the last place that I want to
didn't see that
invest.
coming. Didn't
But
see that
look,
coming.
I mean, if there's financial opportunities, there's financial opportunities. We have a
Right.
great team, an incredible broker. So we're going to meet with him next week. I've already identified 3 or 4 different situations that are kind of interesting to me. We also identified a very interesting situation in Miami, which is much more
Yes.
connected to sort of my bigger picture theme, like people fleeing New York to Miami for tax benefits. So if I had to guess, or if I was a betting man, I think we would lean Miami versus New York. But rather than just guess or be a betting man, we're going to take a look at it, eyes wide open, go tour
Right.
these places. And everything that I'm doing in this space,
Make an
just to be really
informed
clear.
decision.
Yeah, make an informed decision. Friends, I mean, she's a smarty. She's a hottie and a smarty. Those are rare. In any event, we'll make an informed decision. And just to be really clear, the stuff that I'm looking at in this particular discussion here is value add or construction or total gut or stuff like that, right? I'm not looking for finished product that I'm just going to short-term rent. In fact, what I'm leaning towards here is probably do construction for, say, a year or 2, and then exit. Or if my thesis about people being long-term renters for longer periods or even medium-term rentals, maybe we'll build it and then medium-term rent it. So we'll see. Lots of options, lots of
We'll keep you
opportunities.
posted.
Yeah, and I think that the point of this discussion here is really just to show you how uncertain all of this is, how it comes out. We got an unsolicited bid. Should we sell? Should we not? Before we entertain it, let's see what our reinvestment strategies are. Let's think about different locations. Let's go check out the properties, speak to brokers, take a look at it, understand the comps, and make an informed decision about whether or not to exit a non-core asset. And, this is a strategic buyer that is looking to expand. And so the asset has more value to this individual perhaps than to an ordinary buyer. And so, sometimes the stars line up. And as much as I dislike selling real estate, and generally I like to buy and hold and own forever, sometimes your money can be better utilized somewhere else. So, it's a comparison. Like, okay, I'm doing really well on this asset, but what if I could do even better in this other play? And I'm very bullish, for those of you that have been following, this, on constructing new homes or gut renovating and bringing to product a new opportunity. There's just so much demand, and there's not enough supply, and there's not a lot of people that have the skill set or the money or the wherewithal or the patience, or there's a lot of reasons why it's challenging. It's not for everybody. Fortunately, I love doing that stuff, right? Like, I love working with architects and designers and maximizing the space and the experience and the guest journey and the design and the decor and the artwork. And like, I creating that stuff is really, really motivating to me personally. So that's what's going on. Super excited about New York. Super excited. I'm actually going to launch Stomp Capital.
From New York City.
From New York City. We're staying at a super cool hotel, which is a surprise to the bossy lady. And I guess we're going to launch from there.
Yeah.
And I spoke to them this morning. We got the hardwire plug-in. We got the desk. I'm speaking about maybe getting some event space. So trying to make sure that this all goes well. Incredibly, thank you. Honored at the literally hundreds of people that have interest in co-investing with me. It's remarkable, and this is the power of sort of content and distribution and trust and building rapport with people and having people see my journey and what we've done and what we've created. Just by simple invitations, we've received hundreds of interested investors. The vast majority are accredited, which means that they can invest. And I'm really excited for our webinar launch on 9/1. This will probably come out afterwards. If you're still interested, go ahead and register for the wait list. We'll send you some information and so on. So don't think you've missed it. But we're filming before the launch, which is going to take place. And
so cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like everything is lining up. You like to say everything's coming up, Richard. I think everything's coming up, Erica.
Well, it's true. So in the essence of keeping people posted, the last podcast we shared, because you and I had COVID.
Right.
One of my symptoms, which still to this day remains true, is that I lost my taste and smell. So, trying to turn that from a positive or from a negative into a positive, I made the decision to do a 5-day fast, liquid fast.
When are you starting?
I already just finished.
See, friends, I still got it. I can throw her.
Oh my God, you still got it. Oh yeah.
But go ahead. So you just finished this 5-day fast.
I just finished it. And I think...
Doesn't she look great, friends?
Come
on. Like the video. For those of you that are listening to this, literally, hold on. Hop off Spotify. Hop off iTunes. Get on the YouTube. Check out Erica Bossy in all of her glory in 4K. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's 1080p.
Okay. So, anyway, I will say, I think that you were surprised and impressed with... I don't know.
Well, why don't I say it?
I mean, fine.
Okay, so there's a few things that I know and love.
Here's the other thing, too, though. on the other side of that, what I'm really stoked about is that we've got a lot of yummo teed up in New York City, which I actually feel much better about now having coming off this 5-day fast, even though I still can't taste. I want to believe that maybe it's going to come back by New York.
It could do.
Probably.
So here's what I was going to say before you got very, very excited and animated. One of the many things that I love about Erica is her love of food. Literally, she loves food. She loves yummo. The more yummo the food and the more of it, the more love is happening. So this is a recurring theme in her story and her journey and food and weight and appearance and, flipping through Instagram and seeing, the perfect size 0 in a bikini, and it's a thing. So I was very, very concerned how she would handle the 5 days. And to your credit, you were remarkably successful and didn't
Totally
cheat,
successful,
and committed,
no cheating, very committed.
and it was wonderful. And yet, I by the way did none of this, right? So like I'm devouring delicious food. Go about my business on a daily basis. For those of you that are listening, I don't really, that's not my thing, right? So like if I'm going to lose weight or do whatever, it's going to be a change in lifestyle. It's not a 5-day fast, but this is the beginning, right? It's a reboot or something like that.
It was like a reset.
A reset. So it's not like I'm going to be participating in that, but to your credit, you did really quite well. I'm very proud of you. And I thought you looked great before. I think you look greater now, if that's what you want me to say, or, I don't know. I can get in trouble. I can definitely say the wrong thing. So I don't know what you want me to say, but whatever you'd like me to say, 100%.
Consider it said.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly. So in any event, you did that, and you weren't like ornery and aggressive. I thought she was going to go aggro, and none of that happened.
Yeah.
And now we're super excited to go have
Yummo.
The finest and most delicious stuff of New York City. My kids have ordered up all of their favorite restaurants before they go to boarding school. And one of my daughters is spending her senior year abroad in Europe, in Italy specifically, which is really going to suck because Eric and I are going to have to go to Italy 2-3 times next year. And she's never been, even though she's of Italian descent. Italy is one of my favorite places in the world. And
that's where all my neeks come from.
Her sneakers. See what we're talking about? We're talking about yummo, sneakers, But anyway, lots of really great things happening. It's all coming together. We wish and hope that all of you are enjoying your summer and having similar excitement and success and joy and reunions with friends, family, loved ones, taking your kids to school and college. And I mean, it's just, as upside down as the world is, and as much pain and fear and scarcity and all of this stuff that is surrounding us, it's really important for all of us, for our own mental health and sake and sanity and positivity and productivity and, showing, right, our kids how you can deal with adversity and overcome and rise above challenges and so on. So this is a time where we can stand out and make a difference. And in that end, I'm hoping all of you are having similar positivity, even in the face of negativity, which is all over the place.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. So how about we pivot to Airbnb?
Shall we?
Sure. So I found an article.
Wait, hold on. You didn't even do the music.
Dun, 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 dun.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So found an interesting article from the Spokesman Review, and Idaho is home to 2 of Airbnb's top wacky rentals. One of which is a giant potato.
Fitting in Idaho, right?
Yep.
Home of the potato.
Spuds,
not Spuds McKenzie. That was Budweiser. But nonetheless, Idaho potato farming, etc. Right. There's a Idaho potato Airbnb.
Correct. But even more interesting than that is in this article, it shares the frequency in which some of these like really unusual places are searched for. And I kind of wanted to share that in the essence of experience and, different and so on and so forth. Yurts.
Okay. What's the growth?
1,701%.
17x
Correct.
in searches. Okay, for yurts.
Correct.
Okay, keep going.
Islands, 1,668%.
16x. Here we are on Hatteras Island.
Boom.
16 times more searches. Okay.
Huts, 1,379%.
Huts. I'm searching for a hut, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Earth houses, 1,285%.
Earth houses. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, super cool. Barns, 1,068%.
10x for barns, friends. If you have a barn on your property and you're not monetizing it, there's 10x the searches on Airbnb looking to pay you for your barn.
Here's another interesting one. Ready? Farm stays.
Farm stays.
Who knew this was a thing?
Well, actually in the cohort-based class, we were espousing exactly that, right? Whether it's a farm or a culinary farm to table or, wildflower.
1,055%.
Yeah, 10x. People want farm stays.
Houseboats, 1,015%.
Houseboats. It's kind of interesting you mentioned that because when we were talking about selling a property, unsolicited bid, 1031 reinvestment strategy, I Googled if we could buy a motor yacht.
Oh, really?
And then short-term rent that out.
That'd be fun.
I know. Unfortunately, the IRS says no. They're on to that. But I looked.
Yeah.
But a houseboat's kind of cool.
I like it. Yeah. Tiny homes.
Tiny homes. So,
I've been hearing this a lot.
Right. A lot of people, everyone and their mother's looking into tiny homes with good reason. What's the percentage growth?
791.
8x. So would you like my opinion on all of this?
I would. How did you know?
Well, I don't know. I just kind of, we've done this once or twice. And
Take it away, Bob.
so here's basically my thought, and it's very consistent with everything that I've been teaching on this channel almost from day one, right? So for 6-7 years, I've been saying to seek unique experiences, and rather than compete with everyone else, and rather than getting a traditional 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo or house or whatever and competing with the guy above you or below you or across the street from you or to the left or to the right, like, let's just go out there and find these unbelievable experiences and let's enable them and let's turn them on. And the thing about the Airbnb platform is there's demand, right? Like, it's not me just saying, hey, I think you could make a lot of money. There's a green space, a blue ocean strategy, like go skate to where the puck is going. I think there's demand there. This is Airbnb. They have all the data, right? Like, these are the most searched for stuff. Actually, maybe not the most searched for, but the most change, the most growth, right? So since, I guess, pre-COVID to now, people are seeking even more of these unusual, Instagrammable, one-off, hey, how cool is this? I stayed in a yurt. Oh, yeah? Well, I one-upped you. I got a hut. Oh, yeah? Well, I was in this really super rad barn. I mean, everybody's looking for different, unique experiences. And the beautiful thing is everything that you just laid out there, those are all less expensive than housing at all-time highs.
Right.
I can guarantee you can get a yurt, a hut, a farm stay, a barn, I don't remember what else. Houseboat. All of those things are less expensive than, a fully priced house at an all-time high, beachfront.
Yeah.
Ski in, ski out.
Island.
On the lake, mountain, island. So for people that say, hey, I want to expand and I don't really know where to invest or how to invest or how do I find this, you got to get creative, right? This isn't about copycat. This isn't about like, oh, well, I want to compete with the Joneses and I'm going to have a slightly nicer decor and a slightly nicer interior and I'm going to charge $10 less. Like, if that's your mindset, you're going about this all wrong.
Yeah.
The opposite should be true. I'm going to go out there and find the coolest experience, the coolest yurt, the coolest glass house, the coolest houseboat, the coolest stargazing, a lake where there's no one else. And I'm going to put this platform in this, it's a new asset class. People are
Oh my
literally,
gosh, remember that Airbnb that you shared with the cohort-based class? It was literally just like a 1-bedroom bubble in, was it Joshua Tree?
I think it was in the middle of the desert.
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
even think it had like
So
hot
cool.
water, and the thing was charging $1,300-$1,400
Oh
a
my
night. Had dozens or hundreds of 5-star
Yeah.
reviews, and that's the point, right? Like, so
cool.
for, I don't know what they spent on the land, maybe 50 grand or 100 grand, and I
Right.
don't know what they spent on this glass bubble thing, but it wasn't a ton.
wanna
And
go
so,
to that.
you know, for $250,000,
Yeah.
they're out there getting $1,500 a night ADR.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that are spending $1.5 million on a generic 3-bedroom, you know, kind of in a ski area or a mountain area or whatever, and getting $400 a night. So if
Right.
you're doing this just for money,
Yeah.
there's a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing. that.
Totally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And totally consistent with everything that I've been teaching and predicting. And we went in depth at the cohort-based class about how to do some of this stuff, because it's a new asset class. And that was the point that I was making before. You know, just because this isn't completely popular doesn't mean that it's not the best opportunity.
Right.
It just means that you're ahead of the curve. And that's everything that I've been doing my entire life, right? So I got to Airbnb early. I got to the YouTube channel early when I ran all the money for my bosses at the Blackstone Group and $4 billion at Ramius Capital. We weren't coming to the investment party late, like once it was a known quantifiable thing, like, oh, I like Apple at, you know, $1,000. We're trying to get to Apple early.
Right.
And therefore, by being early, in fact, you have less risk and more upside. It's called an asymmetric risk profile, which is the key to investing. You want to take as little risk as possible for as much upside as possible. The challenge is many people think that because it's not proven, they don't have comps, they can't point to the person to the left and to the right, their mom hasn't done it, their brother hasn't done it, like they find that as concerning, and therefore it shouldn't work, and we're insecure, and we're not confident, we don't know how to price it, we don't know how much money we're going to make, this and that and the other. And it's the exact opposite. You have to train your mind to think of it the other way. Because it hasn't been done, that's the opportunity.
Right.
So I said in a tweet, which I still love, instead of trying to compete, get comfortable being unique, right? Like, take comfort from your gut feel, your intuition, knowing it'll work, from articles like this, from searches on Airbnb. Like, the more unique, the more cool, the more experiential, the more off-grid, the more desirable, Instagrammable, blah, 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 the more successful.
Yeah.
And you want to do it soon, before everyone and their mother knows to do this, right? Like, once there's 7,000 yurts listed on Airbnb, the growth rate will slow.
Right.
But if you're one of the first 7,000, you're going to have a great 5 years ahead of you, decade ahead of you. And chances are whoever does the yurt roll up, which will happen, you know, there's going to be some yurt king of short-term rental world. He's going to come knocking on your place and say, hey, you have 13 yurts,
Knocking on
13
your
unique.
yurt.
What?
Knocking on your yurt.
Knocking on your yurt. He's going to come, he or she are going to come knocking on your door and say, hey, you've amassed, you know, quite a following and quite a reputation. You've got yurts in these highly desirable places. We want to be the yurt king and queen of the world, and we need to own your property, right? It's as simple as that. You just have to believe.
Boom.
Focus and execute.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have some questions?
We do.
But you need your telephone.
I do.
Always something, friends. Always something.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Are you ready?
I am.
Richard, what do you think are some of the best locations to start in 2022?
And does who submitted this?
David Duncan.
David Duncan. So, that's a very challenging question, because so many of the viewers and listeners and participants at STRU have so many different realities, interests, and so on, right? I mean, I see it in the cohort-based class. There's people that love urban, there's people that love rural, there's people that want experiences, and the key thing is that they're doing something that's connected to their why, right? So, for instance, somebody who wants an urban area is just not going to want what was that thing called? A farm experience? What were we just
Farm stay.
a farm stay, right? And somebody who wants a farm stay is going to be miserable with like an urban experience. So the very first thing I always teach is that it has to be really important and connected to your why. And the reason that's so important is because it'll light you up even during periods of adversity. If you have a boiler failure or a problem guest or something happens, a storm, something, if it's something that's meaningful to you, you'll have the wherewithal and the strength to persevere and overcome and repair and get back on your feet and stay committed. And short-term rental investing and real estate investing in general is not get rich quick, right? We happen to be in, I believe, the most attractive risk-adjusted return sector of real estate investing. Short-term rentals are far more profitable when done properly than, say, long-term rentals or retail, commercial. But you need a long runway. And so the first thing I want to share with you is that it has to be connected and important to you. So if you love lakes, go find lakes. If you love mountains, go find mountains. If you love urban, then be in the urban areas. And to do anything just for the money is the wrong reason, right? So for instance, I'm here on this YouTube channel telling you everything that I possibly know, how to invest, how I'm investing, where I'm positioning, and so on, because I want to grow you. I want you to have financial freedom. I want you to have success. If I was doing this for, say like or ego or comments or anything like that, it wouldn't be authentic and it wouldn't connect to me. And chances are you guys would recognize that, and I would probably quit along the way because I wasn't getting as many subscribers and so on, right? So you have to be doing it for the right reasons. Now to try and get a little bit more granular and specific, David, once you've identified your why and you know what kinds of things you're looking for, it really feeds right into this article that we just shared. I think the most unique opportunities in 2022 and the most profitable opportunities are going to be things that you're doing differently than everybody else. So think really Instagrammable, think incredible views, think incredible experiences, think about creating programming that takes advantage of those locations. So that farm stay is a prime example. Somebody's coming in and they're not just staying in like a farmhouse. They're probably waking up with the roosters and picking the fresh eggs, and then they're making,
Yep.
hand-picked fruit from the garden and vegetables at lunch and
Yeah.
3 egg omelets from the organic,
Going to milk the cow.
Yeah, right, exactly. All of that stuff is where I think the true opportunity for Airbnb really is, because if you think about what we're doing.
Well, that example of the llama farm.
Yeah, so there's an STRU student from years ago,
Yeah.
absolutely crushing it, had a llama farm outside of Atlanta, and it's very unique. There's not too many llama farms outside of Atlanta, and she's just wildly popular and does a great job. And so, I wouldn't sit here on this podcast and say outside of Atlanta is a great Airbnb, although Atlanta happens to be killing it, right? Like everything I read about Atlanta in terms of short-term rentals and real estate and so on, it's absolutely on fire. But you take a place that's absolutely on fire and you add a unique component to it, and it's not like 1 + 1 = 2, it's like 3. And then you have pricing power, and that's the key thing in 2022 and beyond. If you don't have pricing power, meaning like you're worried about raising your rates $5 or $10, or you're worried that your neighbor has lowered their price $5 or $10, or you're even looking, like, I have no idea. I have never looked. I don't care what my neighbors are pricing because they're not competitors. I'm speaking to very specific people that I want to attract. I'm offering what I believe to be an exceptional value. I'm always at the premium pricing because that's sort of consistent with the way that I lead my life and connected to my why.
Right.
But don't worry about what other people are doing. Worry about what you can do. Worry about how you can light people up, excite people, make memories, make it Instagrammable. And then you get to a place where you have pricing power.
Right.
You become a price setter as opposed to a price taker. And in 2022 and beyond, that will set you apart and you'll be great. Even more specifically, David, there's a massive theme of opportunity that I believe strongly, which is that this remote working thing and quality of life.
Agreed.
And people really valuing time with friends, family, and so on is more important. So net overall, I'm much more positive, constructive on people investing in what would be traditionally called like vacation areas versus say like urban areas, which tend to be much more focused on and around work.
Right.
If we rewind the podcast back though, you did hear me say that, where there's distress, there's often opportunity. And so like I'm looking to potentially make an investment in New York City, although I'll probably do Miami, but I'm looking, right? And so I just need to clarify, I'm not saying that all these urban areas aren't investable or that you shouldn't do that if it's connected to your why. You should. But overall, from a thematic perspective, I think that people have learned an awful lot from COVID. They've thought long and hard about what's important to them, and ultimately what they're realizing is they're prioritizing quality of life and experiences and so on more than like career, right? People are quitting incredible companies like, I don't know if it's Google and Apple and whoever, where they would, have done anything to be employed by them, but they disagree with the work in the office environment. They found that they were much more creative and lit up and excited and got to be with their 2-year-old kid and their dog and their husband and so on. And so like they're willing to work for Google if they can continue to work remotely. But if Google's going to say, no, we're not doing that, we're going back to the office, they're like, you know what, I'll find another job. 'Cause
Right.
this is my life. It's one life. I can see how quickly things can change. And so priorities have changed. And from an investor perspective and an investment perspective, I would try and be ahead of that.
Right.
Which is what we're doing, right? Like, I mean,
Totally.
everything that we're doing in Stomp Capital, everything that we're doing, I was going to say personally, but the reality of it is Stomp Capital becomes our personal investment strategy
Right.
as it relates to short-term rentals. Is consistent with this, right? So I'm not telling you to do one thing and doing another. This is what we're doing ourselves. This is the content that we're providing. This is the education we're providing cohort-based people who, by the way, are like absolutely on fire and bidding
my
and buying
gosh.
and partnering. It's just insanity, right?
Yeah.
And
Love it.
and the change
Love it.
from, there's people that are in the mastery, and a lot of people actually upgraded from one session to mastery.
Yeah.
So the people that have gone through both, they're like different people.
Oh, totally.
It's amazing, right? The way that they're thinking, the way that they're investing, the way that they're behaving, the action that they're taking, and it's incredibly
so cool.
gratifying. So,
So cool.
okay,
Yeah.
do we have another question, or do we have time for another question?
We do. Thank you
You're very welcome.
for answering that question. Let's see. We've got, oh gosh. I don't want to butcher this name, but I'm sure I'm going to. Guillaume Giuliani La Fren.
That's pretty close, I'm sure.
It's the second one. It's in yellow.
Oh, Guillaume Laferniere would be my closest,
Okay.
and I'm terrible at French
I'm
if that's
so
French.
sorry.
Guillaume Laferniere, something like that. Apologies in advance.
Truly. Advantage of networking with other STR owners in your area. What to ask, what to share, etc.
Cool. That's a great question. So this individual is asking about the benefits of networking with other short-term rental owners and operators in your area. So I'm going to expand this a little bit and say it's critically important that you do, in fact, get to know other short-term rental investors, entrepreneurs, hosts, and share freely, right? Like, we are not in competition. I can't stress this enough. Like, I'm sitting here, I have 55,000 YouTube subscribers. I have 38,000 people in the Facebook group. I've got dozens of people, hundreds of people that have gone through the cohort-based classes, hundreds that have come to the STRU Live. I don't hold anything back. I share everything. And the reason is because I want to see everybody grow. It's like the rising tide. And the reality of it is we're not in competition with one another. You have to get out of that mindset, because if that's literally what you fear, then that becomes your reality, and then you're scarcity minded, and then you're worried about the person across the street and so on. And we're so early in this opportunity that
Right.
you would rather be totally transparent and totally authentic and tell people the good, the bad, the ugly, your fears, your successes, your wins, and build around yourself a tribe of like-minded entrepreneurs and hosts that rise you up, right? I see it all the time in our Facebook group.
Yeah.
The people that are giving, shout outs and throwbacks to all of
Totally.
I was at STRU Live in Nashville and I met these people. I was at STRU Live
Yep.
in Miami. I was at STRU OBX, and now I'm meeting these people in, we just had a meetup in the Smoky Mountains. We just had a meetup in, Florida. We all got together and we had dinner. We're doing a mastermind. We're doing these entrepreneurs are growing at an exponential rate because instead of being with a bunch of naysayers and doubting Toms and people that aren't supporting you or think you're crazy or think that, hey, you already have two, don't you think a third is really risky? Surround yourself with people that are actually succeeding and actually winning and actually growing and quitting W-2 jobs and becoming professional real estate investors if you want to grow.
Right. And what it does as well is how many people are co-investing with each other? Oh, okay. So you want to do a third STR, but you don't have the financial bandwidth to do it alone? Awesome. How about we do it together?
That's entirely true. And,
cool.
Let's just make it real easy. If you wanted to be a baseball player, right? Like you want to be on a baseball team, don't go surround yourself with a bunch of people that are playing soccer.
Right.
Right? Like you wouldn't do that. You'd be like, hey, I want to play baseball. I want to be a first baseman. And so I'm going to go surround myself with all of these people. And there's other people that want to be first baseman too. But I'm not going to worry about the fact that he wants to be a first baseman. We're both going to try out for the spot. We're both going to learn. We're both going to do the workouts. We're going to go do everything. Right? It's just obvious when you say it that way. But somehow when it comes to investing, it's kind of like, I want to be protective. I want to be secretive. And I get it because when I launched my first company, and this used to be a thing, believe it or not, everybody was in stealth mode, right? We wouldn't talk about our great big idea for fear that somebody would steal our great big idea. It's the exact opposite. You have a great big idea. You want to be talking about it as much as possible, as quickly as possible, before everyone else. Build as much traction, build as much credibility, build as much support, build the infrastructure, build the team, build all that. That's the way that you launch a really big, great idea. Not this I better keep it secret. And it's the same thing in short-term rental investing. The only thing I would say, my friend, is this. I don't think it has to be local. You should be building this network of people. In fact, more diversity gives you broader thinking and more opportunities. And so if you limit yourself, and I'm just making this up, let's just say that you were in Idaho and you were running the potato. If you limit yourself to the people in Idaho, it's really great that you have a local community and you can all share resources. Here's my plumber, here's my this, and you should be doing that. But you're going to grow yourself a lot more if you find a similar-minded person, investor, host, entrepreneur that's in, Seattle, and another one in Atlanta, and another one in the lakes, and another one in the mountains, and someone in Europe, and so on, right? Because now we're getting broad exposure, and that's the real beauty of the 38,000 people that are in the Facebook group, where it's more interactive, and then much more hands-on in the cohort-based class, or people get to know one another after weeks. I mean, they're friends and partners and investors and relationships. So, great question. I encourage it. I support it. Get started immediately. Share openly, share outright your pain, your fear, and your wins. You got to celebrate the wins,
Well,
too.
the other thing that I also want to point out is if there's multiple, let's say you're on a team and you're on this baseball team and there's multiple people that are going for the first baseman, position, you're less likely to get lazy or complacent or
pulls you up.
Totally.
Right? Because you're now competing. And
you're engaged. And I think there's such a thing as maybe healthy competition or I don't know. I think it can definitely be a good thing. I really encourage it.
It's a critical thing. And I guarantee you this, you will go quicker, faster, bigger, with more success.
Learn from people that are doing it better than you.
Right. You can't do this alone.
Right.
Right? Or you can, and you will, and you'll achieve modest success.
Right.
Right? If you want extraordinary success, time to build that network.
Totally.
So great question. Thank you.
Really great question. Both of them were. Awesome. Hey, thanks for your time.
Hey, thank you for your time as well.
Congrats on Stomp.
Here
we go, September 1.
All right,
Boom.
friends. So that's it?
That's it. That's a wrap.
That's it. It's a
That's-
wrap. We appreciate it very much. Thanks for your
Same.
time, attention. I also want to just encourage you to all subscribe to the YouTube channel. We do film these. It's, I think more fun and cooler to see us occasionally than listen only. Erica's not so sure, but what I would say is, if you're listening to us, try checking it out on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, and then pick your poison. However you want to consume the content, but we're going to keep
Like
making
the video and subscribe.
Like the video, subscribe, comment. There was a lot of views, by the way, and no comments the last time.
Oh,
which is kind of
interesting.
remarkable, right?
And keep the questions coming.
Right.
Email
them to Hardik.
Email them to Hardik.
Hardik at str.university if you have any questions.
S is in Sam, T is in Tom, R is in Richard.
Or S is in short, T is in term, R is in rental, right? That's one way of thinking about it. In any event, friends, listen, we're having fun.
Oh my
We're going to go
gosh.
film a couple of YouTube videos.
Nice.
Then I've got to finalize my presentation and everything for the Stomp launch on September 1st. You and I have a nice little drive to the East Coast, and super excited for everything that's going to happen in the next week. Wishing you all a very healthy, successful, productive, joy-filled, love-filled week ahead.
Yes. All of that. 100,000%.
We'll see you soon. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank
Like
you.
the video. Bye now.
Bye.
So that does it for another episode of the STRU podcast. As always, all links mentioned are in the show notes below. And if you found this show helpful, please leave a review on iTunes. If you're serious about short-term rental investing, be sure to check out str.university. Till next time.
Hey STRU friends, this is your personal invitation to co-invest alongside me. If you haven't heard, I've launched Stomp Capital Short-Term Rental Opportunities Fund, where I will be personally investing all of my short-term rentals going forward. And if you're an accredited investor and you want instant diversification and you want to participate in the best ideas that I identify, you relate to all of my teachings and the uniqueness and the sense of place and all of that stuff, then please click on the description below and find out more about Stomp Capital short-term rental opportunities. The best is yet to come and we're literally getting started. I would love to have you alongside, so let's go.